Hello everyone and welcome to a new video here on YouTube. Hi. So today we're here to speak about our young selves, which means something that I think is very important for younger people and younger generations to understand. Now, I'm not here to be speaking about as a perspective of an older someone, as an older individual, but as someone who has gone through a lot of growth and a lot of different experiences, and what I would advise you to take in consideration and know that life is a process, life is a journey. But life is being a journey and a process. It's not easy. Okay, there are a lot of variables, there are a lot of different situations that we go through, and some of them suck, some of them are okay, and others are amazing. The basic point with this video is that I always felt like I was a loaded gun. Okay, the loaded gun means that I always had this burning pressure and burning desire to do more, but not necessarily to do more. At least now I kind of analyze it that way. Not necessarily to do more, but to do something different. And that came from one thing or two things, which I have talked about in the latest video. The first was using too much social media. Using a lot of content means that my head was filled up with either ideas or with energy. But that energy wasn't really natural energy. It was the energy of like my brain just couldn't be quiet. Now, I'm not saying that I had difficulty sleeping, and I'm pointing here because my bed is right here. But what I'm saying is that I had this difficulty shutting down and actually shutting down. And these things, these are habits that we feed ourselves. And in that topic of feeding ourselves, one of the other things is that I've always watched content eating. And that creates this sort of like dopamine reception, effed up situation, and like balance that it's not a balance. You are basically eating because you want to watch content, and you are watching content at the same time that you are eating. So we have to have boundaries, and especially the boundaries with ourselves. Okay, so as I said, I always felt like a loaded gun. I always felt like I wanted to have more work experience when I was younger. I always felt like I had this itch and this desire to fulfill what I don't know. But I, that is not inherently bad. But now my opinion is that that was inherently bad because I didn't have the tools to deal with it, and now I have. Taking in consideration that yes, now I have more work experience and now I am working and it's very important to me. That routine is very important to me. It's very important for us as individuals. So I'm not telling you that, oh, the things that you're gonna say or kind of like advise your younger self are going to be things that you can just deal with. No, it takes time. It's a process. But what I'm trying to say is that yes, I've always felt like a loaded gun. I never felt like I was truly quite fulfilled, and that did have an impact and change when I started watching less content and when I started just simply having a meal for having a meal and not just watching content and eating. And then other habits, I mean, things like taking in consideration other people's opinions or surrounding yourself with people who are not really your inner circle or people that you trust with. These little habits, the little things make the biggest difference, and that's what we have to question ourselves. So I'm not telling you that the things that I would tell my younger self would be, I would change this, this, and that. I wouldn't, because it's a process that I have to go through. But I do realize that I would kind of approach things with a different mindset. But that takes time. Okay? This is basically the video is here. 4 minutes. That's it. It's done. But now I want to speak a little bit more about like some specific things and goals and objectives that I had before that I may have now, but are different. So, like throughout our years, we meet people, we have breakups, we have great relationships, either that being love or sexual relationships, whatever it is. We meet more people and we are in different situations, and that everything shapes us. And then we get to the point, which is normal, that it's like, okay, I have lived all this. Where am I gonna go? And then some years later, we think, did I make the right decision? And it's normal to question those things, and it's normal to like think about how life would be different. But I would advise you to have this critical thinking, but being honest within yourself at this moment, what you can do, what you can change, and not just being nostalgic for the sake of being nostalgic with a little bit of I should have done this, or man, my younger self was so wreckful or something like that. Like I said, it's a process. And you can still be wreckful or whatever it is in other situations. You can say, oh, my younger self was so naive. Maybe you're still being naive in other things. It's a balance, okay? Life is a balance in terms of like, as an example, in some groups, we might be the superior person. We might be the top guy. In other groups, we're not going to be the top guy. Life is about balances, okay? So if we always want to search for something, we want to go for this top thing, top thing, and we think about it so much, and we're like, this is my goal, this is my goal, this is my goal, I'm going to go here. Remember that you also need the reverse. You need the reverse side of not going there, okay? What I'm trying to say with all this is that life is a process. It's the flow of life. And sometimes we're so focused on getting to another level or a different level that we forget that life takes time, patience. And patience doesn't come with just saying, oh, I'm going to be patient, I'm going to be fine. Well, what do you do then? You watch content to pass on the time, you work super hard, you got to have faith. So these variables, all these things that we're speaking about, it's a bit esoterical, but it is true because life goes on and it goes on with or without us. And we have to kind of play with it. So the habits that we can change, the things that are very important to us, we should change. But always knowing that there's a flow of life and we should enjoy it. And like I said, going back to the main things that have changed this mindset for me were, without a shadow of a doubt, not watching as much content. And yes, having the opportunity to do a job that I didn't think I would be good at, and I was good at. And it's actually where I am today, right now. So these experiences will be different for everyone. The process and the life progress will be different for everyone. But I do promise you that do not look back with angry eyes. If you feel like a loaded gun, if you feel like you haven't achieved things, there's always something that you can change. Trust me. And then the rest just comes down to patience, faith, and just manifestation. But there's more than that, I know. But we can't fix all of our problems in just one day, in 2 days, 3 days, in a month, in a year, in 2 years. But we can actively at least analyze that thing. And that's step number 1. So that's basically it. Okay, I don't really have any more, because it depends on each case and each person. If you want to talk about it in the comments, if you want to send me a message, I will gladly help, give my opinion on something. But that's the thing. We only need one opinion, which is ours. Okay? We might need to consult others, but then within our hearts and within our guts, our intuition, we will find the answer. And sometimes it's not easy, and it takes a lot of time to find the answer. Sure, but it's there. Hope you enjoyed this video. I will see you in the next one. And once again, I want to keep this series as short as possible, so to speak, in terms of like maximum duration of the video, 10 minutes. This is the new bullshit series, and I promise you that more topics, more interesting topics and weird topics are going to come in the future, and I'll be here to answer them. But again, if you have any suggestions, anything that you want me to comment on and give my opinion, give my no bullshit opinion while also being helpful about it, I will be here to answer them. Thank you so much. Bye. Have a nice week.